the last round of
Horror Show.
Okay, you son of a bitch. Your brother wants to meet me? Let's meet. I'm not afraid of you, or him, or any of you. So come on. Let him look me in the face so I can carve up his sick, laughable body.
Basket Case 2. You guys are fans. I mean, Jason's a fan of the Basket Case movies. He just bought the whole bunch of them on Blu-ray.
Well, let me explain that. Like, what I know, I wanted the first one,
right?
And then, I like the first one pretty good. So I was just going to go blind buy part 2, and when I went to look, I mean, I could get all 3, the whole collection for cheaper than what I could have bought 1 and 2. So the third movie is just a bonus. So that's why I bought it.
You got a summation on this one?
Sure. Dwayne and his basket-bound mutant brother are taken in by a secret home for wayward freaks with a journalist hot on their tail. So, it seems to me that all of these movies follow one right after another. I'm wondering if they shot them all like right after each other.
No, I think there's quite a bit of space.
Did you know that the mom from Pete and Pete plays the news reporter in this?
I don't know what Pete and Pete is.
What?
I don't know what Pete. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm the lone guy. Nickelodeon, Two Brothers, The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
I didn't have Nickelodeon.
That rings a bell, but I can't picture it.
I didn't have satellite TV out here in these woods that we're in right now. Yeah, I didn't have it until like 98, 99.
Yeah, this is written and directed by Frank Henenlotter.
Henenlotter. Confidence.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that. Known for the Basket Case movies, of course, and Frankenhooker.
And Brain Damage.
Brain Damage.
Yep.
Granny Ruth is played by Annie Ross, who was a famous jazz singer. Did you know that? And first appeared on a little.
I did actually.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I don't know. I don't know what jazz you listen to. Did you know that the dude from Dawn of the Dead was in this? The Flyboy, Peter MG or whatever his name is.
I didn't recognize
Or
it.
David MG. He was the Half Moon guy. Why would they put him in the back?
Oh, that's why.
Why would they put him in the background though?
That's why I didn't
why would he
recognize
put him like that? One of the Franco boys is also a freak, and Ted Sorrell.
Which Franco boy?
Tom Franco.
Is that what we're calling them, freaks?
Freaks, or yeah, that's what I call
I was
them.
going with monsters.
They're people, Jason.
Ted Sorrell, do you know who that is? Have you heard that name? He's in From Beyond. He plays Dr. Pretorius.
Gotcha.
He plays Phil. So I think we all remember who Phil is, right?
Did you get a tagline on this?
No.
Was Phil the reporter's boss?
Could have been.
I think it was the reporter's boss.
I wrote that down before I watched it.
Anyways, no.
But anyways,
tagline.
What do you got?
It says, "Look who's back."
Belial is who's back.
Belial. This was, like you said, Frank, 1990. This one didn't get a DVD release until 2007.
Holy shit!
I'm not surprised.
Wow.
I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, me too.
But Synapse also released it on Blu-ray in 2016.
I wanted to talk about how when Dwayne and Belial leave the hospital, isn't that a little too quick to just get out of a hospital? Because I think we've all three been in the hospital with the childbirth and all that. It's literally a fucking, you got to get through the doors. You have to have people buzz you through the whole thing.
Yeah, like the hospital's on lockdown now. Like I forget what.
Especially, yeah, but if you're thinking child ward,
I thought
maternity
any of the sections of the hospital
I
are
don't
probably
think
like
all sections are like the maternity section. And you're basing it on 2010 and the movie was made to take place
I'm just amazed that they just get out. He's carrying Belial.
No, the security guard's asleep.
That's always the case.
I bet you could do it at Hardin Memorial.
You're probably right. You probably
And
do a lot of things.
that place felt like a 90s Hardin Memorial.
Do you know who did the special effects in this? Did you write that down?
No, I don't.
Gabriel.
I don't like to give those guys any credit.
No? Gabriel Bartalos. He worked on Leprechaun. Sometimes They Come Back. Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie. And he was the writer and director of Skinned Deep. Have you seen that with
I haven't seen
Warwick
either
Davis?
of the last two.
Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie. That means that he probably worked. Have you seen it, Jared?
Yeah.
He probably worked on that big dick. That,
Yeah,
like, there's a big dick in it.
I'm out already.
But do you want to go through?
Well, yeah. Well, let's just stay on the effects because
yeah.
This whole movie should have been shot with the guy in the mask or the costume, because when it's a real person, it looks bad as
it looks
shit.
good.
Sometimes this thing looks
terrible. That was one of my points. I was like, why didn't
right
they?
from the get-go when they're escaping and you see him like just dangling.
Yeah.
Like it was awful.
One of the things that I actually, for what this movie is, I enjoyed it.
I loved it.
One of the things I enjoyed about this movie is the insane inconsistency among the effects. You'll see something and you'll be like, shit, that looks good.
Yes.
And you'll see the same thing one scene
Oh my
later
God.
and be like, that's terrible. That's
How
terrible.
is it that they can do that awesome effect at the end whenever Belial twists that reporter's face? That looks cool as shit. You've never seen anything
Money.
like that. And then you look at Belial, and half the time he looks like a fucking statue. Somebody's just moving around.
Money.
But it
Well,
doesn't take
and
any
the
more
shots,
money
like
to put a guy's head like they did in a few shots. It doesn't cost. They already did it.
Yeah,
Just do it
and
more.
spent most of their money doing it.
I don't think
when
it
they
cost
had
that
to
much,
do- when
Jared.
they-
It couldn't have cost that much.
When they had to do it again, they
Yeah.
didn't have that money anymore.
Shit. You
You
know
know,
what?
when you're talking about money, you can fact check me, but I'm pretty sure I saw this at a budget of $2.5 million.
Shit. I could see that.
I think
What did it, well,
That's
they-
really low, though. I mean, that's not a lot of money for a movie.
for this movie
For a
in
big-
1990.
For a big prosthetics effect movie.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what that stuff costs, but $2.5
lot.
million. I was surprised when I seen that.
I think we're burying the lead here because the best part of this movie is Lyle Barker. Do you remember him? He was the guy that owned the freak show that wasn't really a freak show. And he said, I'm going to make $100. $100. He got real excited.
Damn! 100 smackaroos! Wow! 100 smackaroos! Whoa, boy! 100 smackarinas!
Now this is why he's the best part of the movie. Lyle Barker, who was played by Jan Saint, also played these classic roles: Man Hit with Ball, Santa, Street Preacher, Old Man Playing Chess, Wino, Drunk, Bum in the Street, Cowboy Who Loses Hand, Morgue Attendant, Old Man in Dutch Village, Bartender, and Mailman. And also Lyle Barker. Huh?
It's good you gave him credit on all
he,
those.
all that was in this movie.
No, that's his
No, he
film
played
career.
Lyle Barker
Oh.
in this movie. But like
That's
all
his-
of his
I
credits.
don't remember seeing any of this. So
If
he,
you-
That's his
No.
only role with the name in a movie.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the one that I really like is he played Cowboy Who Loses a Hand. That's probably his best role, I would assume. You gotta assume. Are you done with it, Jared? You want me to move on?
No, I'm listening.
I don't have. Well, I got shit. I got a whole back page of shit. What's my problem? Oh yeah, what's the deal with the gargoyle on the house? Is that like a freak? Is that another freak, or is that just like a regular haunted gargoyle?
It's a moving gargoyle.
Well, yeah. No, I thought it was like just a prop too, but then at the end, I think
It's eating
Laughing
hot
or
dogs. It's
something.
eating hot dogs.
yeah.
It's supposed to be one of the freaks. It's just where they didn't. Someone was like, "Do people born with deformities where they're gargoyles?"
No,
No one bothered
The
questioning.
freaks, the monsters, whatever we're gonna call them. I think
They were
great.
awesome. They looked way better than Belial. And whenever that photographer dude pops up and takes all the photos of them in the attic, that's an awesome scene. I
Yeah.
think that looks great.
Yeah, I
When he
have
gets
that. I have
killed
that
over
written
there.
down as well. That's a great scene.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
And the scene again in the attic where she's giving her like speech to the children.
That had a very.
That was great too.
That had a very.
Like when they start all getting excited, like that was a little creepy.
Yeah.
The old lady made me feel like Troll 2. Her acting.
Granny Ruth.
Yeah, Granny Ruth made me feel like Troll 2.
I can see that. Let's talk about the most important scene, the sex scene. Woo.
And you saw it building too.
Yeah.
They was just started off just looking at each other.
It's a love story.
Touching
It is,
hands.
for real. You can't find any credit anywhere for who the head of Belial was, or who the head of Eve was. You can't find. They're just non people. I'm assuming they were makeup artists or something.
Probably.
But yeah, I thought that whole end sequence where
I
that
thought it
was
was
going on. And
I thought it was tasteful
tastefully done.
and erotic,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but in a very classy way.
Yeah, and when I liked how they were bouncing out with Dwayne and the baby monster in that. That was just the ending was just awesome. I liked it a lot. Yeah, and then Dwayne sews Belial back on himself, and that's just a good, nice wrap up. Nice ending.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was pretty surprised at how good it was.
Well, what did you give it?
I gave it a 6.
Yeah, I feel bad. I was kind of torn because I don't want to get into doing halves, but
Don't do halves.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more. I enjoyed it not a lot, but I enjoyed it more than Society. But I rated it the same. I gave it a 6, but this movie does a much better job of knowing exactly what it is.
Yeah,
And just it ran like
it couldn't not know what the fuck it was.
I'm a big fan of cheesy early 90s, just when no one gave a fuck anymore and they just did crazy out there shit, cuz especially on the sequels, everybody always just feels like you got to go bigger and better. And they went way off the rails on it. Like the freaks in the attic. I love how they look, but there's like the dude with the tiny body and the big head.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no way anyone looked at that and was like, we're gonna make a seriously scary movie on this one.
the frog, man.
Yeah.
The frog is way out of line.
But I give it a 6, but I give it a really strong
6.
really strong, closer to 7, 6, because it knows what it is and it's enjoyable all the way through. The acting, whenever you get out of any kind of ridiculous effects shots, the acting is just way over the top.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous and
that's
hilarious.
Probably why that Dwayne guy wasn't in anything other than basket case movies.
So yeah, it knew what it was from beginning to end. The hospital scene in the beginning, it's all of like 10 minutes, and they're just going because they were like, okay, let's sort how this movie happens since they both die at the end of part 1. Spoiler alert. But they're just like, okay, let's sort it and go, and they did. So I wanted to give it a 7, but it's not quite that good.
I give it a 9. That's because I don't make sense. No, I give it a 9 because
Strong one.
honestly, if they would have done better with Belial, this would have been perfect. I don't know.
It just goes back to what he said. It inconsistent. I like when it's a man playing Belial. It looks great, but I know you're limited to the shots because you can't have you got to hide the body.
For me, that it's fitting when Belial goes from this like human face and he looks really good, and then the next thing he's like this rubber hand puppet that they're just carrying around. I lose it every time, but I'm laughing and enjoying the movie, and that's so that the
I laughed out loud
inconsistency-
whenever he started laughing at Dwayne or something, and it just cuts to him.
the inconsistency of it is part of my enjoyment of the movie.